live now. So best behavior. Uh, and let's see, do we have any new folks? There was a new fellow going to be joining us, Bob Duval. So since I think everybody's met each other at one point or another, um, I would just ask you all to put yourselves on mute just so there's no bleed in and the speaker is not interrupted. And then we're going to turn it over to Roger, who's doing his layout update, the first of a series. Man, we got a lot of layout updates coming. This is going to be fantastic. So with that, Roger, I would like to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, John. Okay, I'm going to do a quick review of where I've been with the layout and where it finally ended up. I'm using my old presentation here. Yes, I chose Manassas. My main focus has been on the station and the junction. Okay, and this is a blow up taken from the topographical map done in April of 1862 by, I believe, the Coast Guard officer. And it's the most accurate from the time period, and probably the only one from the time period. And this is where I'm taking the layout from. So initially, when I got started, and I do apologize for the bad picture here, I was thinking about only doing the station right here and effectively a loop over here so I could have continuous running. I was affectionately calling this area over here Thoroughfare Gap. And I, of course, completely skipped the junction. This was my initial idea. But I initially thought I was going to have a room problem. The room that I'm going to show you today was going to be a combination room. I also build costumes as a theater teacher, and I figured I better keep both my hobbies in one place. And it was suggested to come up with an island design for the layout. This line in the center would have been effectively a double-sided backdrop for the island design. Down here would be the junction. Up here would be Manassas Station. And we had a lot of fun with this. I presented this a while back. The group gave contributions that I added to the layout to smooth. Many of them were solving problems to smooth out operations on the layout. And we had a lot of fun with it that day. So this was the second phase of the layout. Now, enter in my wife into the situation. She walked into the room one day and said, "Why aren't you using the whole room?" And I explained to her I was trying to double up the room for the two hobbies. She goes, "Why do that? Why don't you put your sewing stuff over in this other room and use the whole room for the layout?" Well, you know, when you have a wife like that, gentlemen, hey, you don't need any more encouragement. You know what I mean?
Amen.
And so I decided to add in basically everything at the end. This is showing the Manassas station side, giving you a comparison with the blow up, and then the full effect of it across from each other. So let me move on here. So I had to come up with an entirely new design, but not completely new. I definitely wanted the station. After that island concept, I was confirmed to keep the junction, but I decided from the original design to throw in thoroughfare gap again, or a facsimile thereof. Now, this is the new drawing that I came up with. There is a 12.5-foot wall over here, approximately a 9.5-foot wall over here. And this angle here is my door, okay? And I started talking to a couple of people about feasibly using the room and also having the layout there. My brother suggested, make sure you can open that door no matter what, because that's the main exit door. And I said, okay, because the footage from the back of the room to the door corner is about 11 feet. Could have really used that footage. So as a result, I ended up with curving the entire layout inward. And that worked just fine. And so even though, yes, there are several points and 1 or 2 stations between Thoroughfare Gap and Manassas Junction up here, the problem with Manassas Junction and the station are they're effectively flat. So I wanted something mountainous, and I skipped a couple of stations to make sure I had a raised area, and of course the Bull Run Mountains and Manassas Gap.
Mm.
So now the station over here, I ended up, so I could have some room to walk around in here and be able to reach all the distant corners of the layout whenever I needed to. I decided to bring the layout sort of inward here. It also gave a little more length for the station, which I needed for this nice loop. The turntable, which can be identified in the original thing. I talked about that last time. I don't really want to get into detail about that. A presumed, probably an engine house here, like a single door engine house, possible double door. I'm guessing a single door. I have no photographic evidence. But they had these 2 buildings here, as you can see. One coming off the main line where the turntable is located right here. Whoops, sorry. Go back there. Sorry, getting ahead of myself there. Getting really ahead of myself. There we go. The turntable is approximately here. And there's this structure here. I'm presuming probably a small engine house. It could be a car house for all I know. This opposite side structure looks like either, once again, a 1-door engine house or a car house. So I'm presuming that based upon the evidence that I have. I don't have any concrete evidence any other way to prove whatever is there. But I was glad to have that extra space, as I was talking about, by angling it across here. I also added more space. I know I have a switch, pardon me, a turnout right here. But I decided to put a curved turnout down here. And I gave myself another 6 to 7 inches to add to this spacing here, which, since the turntable is 8 inches, you can imagine that helps with giving a little room in there in the station area. Okay. Now, are there any questions as I got going here? Somebody have anything they'd like to comment on? No? All right. Let me carry on a little bit. Now, Oh, by the way, this is my, once again, the American Civil War Atlas showing what the effective spur of the, or turn or about around the lower region of the Manassas, of the thoroughfare gap around the Manassas Bull Run Mountains there. Okay. And so my little sort of spur here works out quite well nonetheless. Yeah, geographically speaking. I'm only doing the north face of the Bull Run Mountain because the rest of it, of course, is the floor or whatever else. Now, I am not a very good woodworker, but as you can tell by my design, I was asking for some, a pretty stylized layout. Okay. I probably would have been able to do a series of rectangles, no problem. But I really liked the curvature of my layout design. And my brother, who works with all sorts of wood carpentry, has made anything from signs to tables to dressers to computer desks. He looked at my drawing and said, "We can do this." And I said, "We can do this?" And Dave said, "Well, I tell you what, let me draw some CAD designs. And then, with all the precise measurements, we'll be able to make everything just according to your design." So it's like, thank God for a good brother. And he just wanted to help. He was happy to help and quite enthusiastic, I might add. And I was just grateful as all get out. So here are his original CAD drawings. This is the part of the station down here, this section, okay, which cuts a little before the turntable. Original measurements, we had to make some adjustments here. So we made the adjustments. Now, moving up the layout, we then made the section, which approximately is here, up to approximately here. Notice how I was trying to do my best to not cut through any
turnouts.
Yeah, turnouts, exactly. And if I have to make some readjustments once I put the thing down, then I'll just do it. But nonetheless, this worked out just fine. We had to make some readjustments here, so we simply made them, and then we're able to bring it together. Once again, moving up the layout to this section, which goes approximately here to here. More drawings. And, if you're effectively, the layout is this section right here. And then, of course, these are all the how long this needs to be and that needs to be that the CAD system works through. I'm not even sure how to use the CAD system. So, my brother did all these drawings. Here's the framing right over here. That's underneath.
Nice.
Here's the top one. The only thing I did right was I actually measured the room correctly. I only did that about 10 times before I completed the drawing.
Right.
And then remeasured again before I sent the drawing to make sure I did it right, so that he could do all these, CAD drawings. Now, here's the section from approximately the center on over to the left. Once again, the framing on this side with very precise drawings, and then our adjustments that we made. And then, of course, the top board right here. and we measured those radiuses. And I had already brought in the track. I had extra track. Already brought in the track. I already laid it on the floor. I knew exactly how much space I needed. Tom, DC, did you guys get to see? I thought I showed you that on a Zoom meet we had where I laid the track down and showed the spacing, right?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. So
You've shown that before, yes.
yeah, but that was just to you guys.
Okay.
Now, we then had to move down to the most difficult section here. And what my brother and I ended up calling the boot. And so once again, the top board over here, had to make sure we had a 18-inch radius and enough space to get the track on there and the mountain in between and all that number, or the rising spur leading down to the descending spur leading down to the gap. And of course, the underframing. Now, the one thing I forgot to add into this drawing was once we built the underframing, we realized we had a little weakening from the arch, pardon me, the arch radius here to the crossbeam support here. So we just I don't know why it keeps disappearing. Here we go. We just measured from here to there and added a crossbeam there and gave it the support it needed. And we were good. Now, whoops. Okay, this was some of my backdrop ideas. Here, let me, but I had one more picture I wanted to show you guys. That's, of course, I use these pictures for the research and on, to confirm what was on the map and everything else. Here we go. Yeah. Now, and this is, I added these. This is Thoroughfare Gap. This picture was taken in 1870. Okay? 5 years after the conflict. That fencing is, I would assume, would be new. Because with several corps that marched through there during the war, I'm sure they took what they needed.
Yeah.
This mill back here, the framing of it still exists. It's still there.
Wow.
And this is a modern picture of the gap right here.
Yeah.
I'm doing the north face over here. This is Interstate 66. And the gap just descends down into here. And so you get a modern picture. My modern picture is about a mile back from where this picture was taken.
You know what's nice about the photo is that's a fairly common fence that would have been around at the time, and that's a good looking one to build if you're so inclined.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And what I found interesting, something I haven't seen too often of. No. This is a snake rail. It's all snake rail.
Not really.
No. This is angled, man. Look at it.
I know that's angled, but that's not that. We could talk about that another time. But the snake fence or the worm fence, that's different. That's different.
Well, it's a different one, and that's why I think this one is a more modern one over what the older one looks like over here with all the cross beaming.
There you go.
That we're used to. Okay? So that's why I think this is a newer one right here. I bet this was on this side at one point, if they had a double line fence like that. Bracketing the road. Okay, so I wanted to make sure you guys saw this since this was an adaptation I put on.
So would one of the big differences be they got those poles sunk into the ground, whereas the older fence, they wouldn't dig all the holes?
Right. That
Yeah.
was the difference between the snake. Yep.
Right. Okay, let's see if I had anything else in here. Okay. Now, let me see if I can join with the iPad. All right. And that should be me that you just heard.
Yep.
Good. Now let me make
Do
sure.
you need to stop this share though?
Yeah, let me stop this share. All right. Now, yeah, Wi-Fi, please. Okay. Let me mute myself. Can you hear me through?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Perfect. That's all we need.
It's a little bit of an echo, but that should be okay.
Well, I'm going to move this thing away from my computer. Hopefully that will reduce the echo.
Oh, here comes the virtual tour.
Exactly. Let me share the content here, Rossi. Great. Screen. Okay, it's coming. Give me a moment. Okay, let me stop the broadcast here. Unfortunately, I haven't done this before, gentlemen, so I do apologize for the delay.
Well, if you just flip the camera, that's all you need to do, right?
Yeah, one would wish that right now. It's not working that well. Let me try it again. Wait a minute. If you could,
We can see you, Roger.
There you go.
we're in. Here we go. Tour of the house. Enjoy it.
Talk about a virtual tour, Roger.
All right. Okay, let me see here. First of all, can you see anything yet?
Yes.
Excellent. What you should be seeing, I am hoping, because I really can't see what you're seeing here, is the lower section where the station will be. Okay?
Are you planning to run the layout while you're sitting on the floor?
No, of course not.
Oh.
Legs are the next step. Give me a break here, okay? Yeah, legs are next step here. So,
Always a
we've
wise
got,
guy.
I'm sorry?
There's always a wise guy.
Yeah, there's always a wise guy. That's all right. Okay, so this layout portion is where the station will be.
Right.
Okay, and now that I'm looking at it a little closer, now that's kind of funny. I think actually I've forgotten the perception. I think the turntable is going to be below here. It's going to be below the cut line there. And I don't have any turnouts in the middle there. And then this area is quite narrow here.
Drop your camera a little bit.
Sorry.
There you go. There you go.
Got it?
Yeah.
Good. This area is quite narrow here. That's approximately about maybe 14, 15 inches. It's not very wide. Then, of course, it just comes around to the junction area here.
Right.
And we have the two junction modules, the one to the right here, and then to the left. And then, of course, we have the boot. Here, I've placed myself in the center here. I'm up by that. I am standing by the narrow section that I just showed you by between the station. And hopefully you're getting the whole boot in this picture. Are you not or no?
Yes.
Good. Now, you'll probably notice here that I've got these sections and the framing still exposed down here. Can you see those areas there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to cover that later. I'm not even worried about that. I was glad to have it there because the way we ended up framing it, I could stand on this edge right here and it's not coming down. The only thing that moved there was the whole board. Whoops. That's what happens when the hobbies get mixed up. They start falling on each other. So let's see if I can give a fairly overall view of it here. Here, let me move this. Hang on. There we go. Can you see the bottom of the boot?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Let me scoot it over for the fun of it. Good. We've got the bottom of the boot there. And it comes around.
Boy, not only did you measure the room accurately, but he built it like it fits like
Fits like a rubber glove.
nice.
Yeah. And the good thing is there's a little movement either side. Once I've got the table legs underneath it, you know, there's just a little bit of wiggle movement that you have back there, which you need because you don't want it scraping the walls.
Right.
And so, you know, this is what happens when your wife gives you splendid permission to use up the room. You use it.
Yeah, I think some of us know that feeling. Nothing like my wife's approval.
Well, it makes it a whole lot easier. Let's face facts, right? This area here is a little less than 2 feet. So if I'm planning on, this area right here in between the station and the boot is about 2 feet. And naturally, all the storage I need is going to occur under these tables.
Right.
And, you know, Tom, after seeing your layout over the summer, seeing Charles over the summer, and seeing DC's, I decided to make my layout about 1 inch shorter than everybody else's because of how it fits my body in here.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just fit me perfect, comes right to my belt line. And I'll be able to lean over and get to every last corner in here without breaking my back, you know, when I'm 92 and still running these things.
Right. Right. Thinking ahead. Good move.
Exactly. While I'm in here, does anybody have any questions?
Were you
I have
going to
one question.
Go ahead.
You want to go first?
are you planning on having the backdrop be on the wall, or were you going to cover that back track that goes around and have that be unseen?
Okay. Thank you. That is a question I did like to address. Effectively, what I would like to do, though I don't have a perfect plan for it, and I may not be able to do it, is I'm going to use some theatrical terms. I want to make a raked stage across the layout. Effectively, the layout will be lower here, pardon me. The layout will be lower here and higher toward the wall. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's face facts. The thin area here, that may not work as well as I want it to.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The back areas over here, pardon me, the back areas around the junction, especially the corners, it should work just fine. Okay? But we'll see. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm really not going to worry about that factor because I want a continuous running layout. You know? Now, for a backdrop along the wall, I'll be honest with you. I am still arguing with myself in my head for my original concept, which was to have historic photographs blown up to be my backdrop. So what I would do for the station area is still have some sort of blown up, I don't know how high they will be, whatever I can do to keep them consistent though, is to have historic pictures blown up of the station area that exist, okay? For the junction area, have junction area historic photographs still as the backdrop. And as many historic photographs as I can find of Thoroughfare Gap, have them as a shortened backdrop over here. Right now, I'm grappling with that, along with the possibility of, you know, going back to Bob Ross, you know, or I think it's Bob Ross, not Bob Rossi, Bob Ross, and trying my hand at, you know, creating a backdrop back there somehow, some way. I'll have room for it because I left room for it and go from there.
Question, Roger.
Go ahead.
Were you saying that it's going to be an either or, either you're going to use period photos or you're going to paint it?
Right.
Okay.
That's my thinking right now.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it's going to end up that way, but it is my thinking right now. When I went and saw Charles in Memphis this summer, he found a way to blow up pictures rather easily with splendid detail. And I'm going to be picking his brain more about that.
You know anybody who can colorize photos?
No, I don't think I'll colorize them. I like, having gone to too many museums in my lifetime, I like seeing that black and white photo back up there aesthetically.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I just do. I think I was infected by my brother because my older brother, when he took his wedding pictures, he did them all in black and white. And about 10 years after that, I got why he did it. And it made sense in my head. And so, no, I don't think I would colorize.
Well, it's an interesting concept if you use period photos, although, you know, you're going to have, your layout's going to be in color, but the photos will be black and white. It's a nice juxtaposition of what it actually looked like. You also have, like, you know, quote unquote museum elements to it. I could, yeah, it would be interesting if you were to do that versus paint it. But whatever it is, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I decided the last thing I'm going to do about it is stress about it.
Right.
Because
you could also, sorry.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if I can get my daughter to paint it, my daughter's not a half bad painter. It's like, yes, let's get another family member involved here.
Right.
You could also consider sienna types or sepia tone photographs to mix it up a little.
Say that again?
Sienna types, blue and white photos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or sepia tone photos.
Yeah.
Not just black and white. I mean, back then they were tin types. So.
Right.
Yeah, no, these photographs would be collodon, wet plate collodon photographs, which has its own interesting characteristics. But I think it's a good idea. I like that. It it provides a little bit of the historical context to your modeling. And I think that's an excellent follow through. We model a period of time that's historic.
Right.
And you can't go, it's hard. You rail fan by looking at photographs and reading records. You can go and look a little bit, but the terrain doesn't look the same now. It's way too forested.
Yes, exactly. Along with the fact that Manassas Junction and Manassas Station are dead center in the city. So when you go there, which of course I've done naturally, you're having to visualize the man-made geographical changes, such as, there's an underpass under the track now, which obviously was not there. But the old Centerville Road still goes with the direction of the Confederate Railroad. So, you do get to see the inner workings of it when you go there, and above all, just how small the area is.
Yeah.
The area is very small. Looking at the station, from the end of the station to the Y of the junction was only a half mile.
Mm.
So 3/4 of my layout is a half mile.
Right. Yeah. For what it's worth, I love that idea about putting the period photos back there. That would be, I don't know of any other layout that has done anything like that. That would be very unique.
It's the one I'm leaning toward. I've got to be honest with you. And if I can find a consistent way of creating the photographs at a consistent sizing,
right,
it's probably going to be the one I do.
Right.
Because it was the original idea. As you can tell, I showed you the progression of my thought process that led to this tabletop here. And I've kept my original ideas from the beginning. They are the most comfortable ones.
Right.
And so most probably I'll stick with them.
Get them out of my hair.
Any other questions for Roger?
I do have
David?
a question. Yes, sir. Are you going to have, is this going to be freestanding, not attached to the wall? Is my first question.
Correct.
Okay. Are you going to anchor it any way to the wall so it doesn't tend to want to rock around?
Yeah, why don't we say it this way? That's going to have to be considered one way or another. Mm-hmm. I am hoping, and DC, please dispel this fantasy in my head if that is the case. But DC had suggested adding adjustable feet to the bottom of the legs.
Yep.
And will that, DC, will that stabilize the modules while securing the modules together at joints?
Unfortunately, DC, he lost power.
Oh, okay.
Can I jump in as one of the original N-Track guys? I have floating layouts for 30 years. Okay. Yes, the feet stabilize your unit. It allows for shifts a little bit. You just have to be really, really careful in your initial setup to make sure you're dead level. That's all. And,
right.
And it works fine. I've got modules that have been up for weeks, down for years, and then back up for weeks again, and they work perfectly fine. Anchoring to the wall is just a way of having no legs. It's the way I look at it. But
okay,
legs on that work work fine. If you look at N-rail, any of the N-rail, a lot of those construction how-to videos, those are all real simple. It's real simple, some T-nuts and some leg levelers, fine.
Okay, well, that's very reassuring to hear, because it's basically what I'm basing it on. I'd really rather not attach it to the wall,
right?
If I can avoid that.
Right. David, did you have a second question?
He kind of answered it actually by what he was talking about, because I was wondering about the stability of it. And the other thing that I had found in room layouts like that, when you're enclosed, if you attach a layout to a wall, it tends to make a speaker out of the room. You tend to pick up echo from the train. So if he's not going to attach to the wall and have it freestanding on its own legs, he's probably not going to pick up that echo effect either.
Okay.
Roger?
Yes.
And when you were here, remember, mine's not attached to any of the walls. And it bore my, I hate to say it, 271 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, on those little legs that I have.
And I remember that. You showed us a picture of you accomplishing that task, DC.
Yeah, well, it's held up and it's not attached to anything, and it's very stable.
Well, that's most reassuring to hear, because I would prefer not to attach it to the wall. I think it's just, that's not what I want. And those who need to, by God, do it. Because, you know, I think that's a good look too, for those who have the type of room to do that with. Because that, I would have to struggle with finding the studs in the wall to make sure I was securing the table correctly to the wall. I'm like, nah, I got to avoid that if I can.
Yeah, I think the real reason people do that is to avoid the legs. You got easy maneuverability underneath, but your layout is not anything that complex where I think you would need to attach it to the wall.
Also,
I've used cross braces between my legs. Like if you have a 2x4 foot module, you have 4 legs. You have 4-foot side along the wall. I run cross braces down the between the back legs, the front legs, and then I also ran diagonals.
Okay.
In some instances, not all.
Bernie's been using Ivar from IKEA for legs, which has metal cross bracing and built-in provision for shelves for storing things underneath the layout, and just make sure you have a lovely little cloth curtain covering all of that stuff up, and some red, white, and blue appropriate patriotic bunting for the Civil War.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Bunting along the bottom of that? That would be absolutely stunning, I must confess.
Yes, I do that on the on Alexandria Union Street switching layout, the portable one.
The one that you have in the picture on your site with that, right?
Yeah, that one has, it has, and that's, you know, that's just basic 4th of July bunting stuck, hanging on the front, but it's appropriate patriotic.
Yeah.
And I will point out, I love your picture because I have a picture of if you look on that carefully, you'll see a picture of the locomotive senator going through the Wilk Street Tunnel.
Oh, okay.
The Wilk Street Tunnel. So, yeah. That's why I love the idea of doing that across the board in the background. I think that's a good thing.
It does. It's a good look.
Yeah. So it will come up approximately here. Let's see if I can get back here. It's going to come up approximately this high.
Right.
Do you see my hand? Do you see the bottom?
I see something purple.
Oh, okay. That's probably my finger.
Oh, no, that was your chin.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, approximately here, which is about a 44-inch it's ultimately going to be the height of somewhere between 43 and 44 inches with the adjustable table feet.
Yep.
And the foam that I'm going to put on top of it. I'm going to put about 2 inches of foam on top of the tabletop.
Excellent, Roger. So is the next step for you the legs?
Absolutely. Over the Labor Day weekend, once again, I connected heads with my brother, and we talked about hardware and what should be used under the circumstances and the type of wood and the thickness of wood that we have. The legs are going to be 2x4s, and I got a whole bunch of appropriately lengthed bolts, washers, and everything else to attach the legs to the inside of the framing and bolt it on.
Right.
And get that thing off, get these things off the floor.
Yep.
You know, probably about four legs per section or so. Maybe three. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tom.
When do you see the legs going in?
Well, I've got the hardware now. It's a matter of cutting them. It's a matter of cutting them and then attaching them effectively.
So are you talking a couple of weeks, a month?
I'm a school teacher, and we've, of course, restarted. So, yeah, it could happen in the next couple of weeks. It could happen in the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try. My goal is to try to get it done by December. And if I get it done earlier, I'll let you guys know.
Good. So I'll schedule for sometime late January or February for the next update.
There you go. There you go.
For what it's worth, several people have posted things in the chat around wheel sets. I think Walt was asking about, and Vince and Andy mentioned something about the Ivar from IKEA. Just as an FYI.
The Ivar looked great, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know about the price and the size and all that, but just looking at the pictures of it, it looks great. Great idea.
How much is Ivar?
It's relatively inexpensive. It comes pre-drilled with little pins so you can locate shelves on it. You can cut the height to whatever you want. It comes in, I think, 3 heights. But Bernie trimmed off some that he was using for Port of Los Angeles tournament layout that he subsequently sold, and also had Ivar under a part of, I think, his new. So it's a good product. I was getting ready to go to IKEA Saturday and pick some up. I plagiarized from the best.
I mean, the dual use, you have storage, which is a little dangerous, I suppose, and it looks like it's finished, and it looks like it's fairly good quality wood. I mean, obviously not almost furniture quality. So
yeah, it's
nice.
Yeah,
it's probably straight and whatever you want to say, all those terms. So you're not sitting there trying to find a good stock or something.
Yeah, the whole shelving unit behind me is Ivar. It comes with, you could put shelves in it, you could put cabinet doors on it. It's pretty great stuff.
Excellent.
Now, these are some of the things I wish I knew when I didn't know it.
Tom, you're well organized underneath your layout, Tom.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I wouldn't whine too much.
Tom,
yeah,
pioneers, don't have the same advantages of those coming behind them.
Okay, so cool. Anything else for Roger?
Yep, one more quick question, if you don't mind.
Please.
Are you drilling through your cross pieces for wiring to run under your layout, or do you attach it?
I have drilled across some of them. here, like here's the boot. That needed some extra support there. For the most part, I'm not. I tried to use any screwing in the middle sparingly to leave the layout open for, you know, wiring and all that number.
Right.
You know, try to have as little as possible to drill through and put wiring through. But making sure you have the proper support for the layout, the tabletop.
Will you be drilling through some of those supports for the wires? Or are you just going to go underneath the frame?
Let me think here. Here, I tell you what, let me do this. Just a moment. Okay.
Bingo.
Here's the boot. Here's the boot up against the wall. Let me look at it.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me get it angled properly.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, I'm going to have to drill through this and this and this to get that radius at what is effectively the top here right now. And looks like I need to drill through here and over here as well. Yeah, we'll be doing some drilling to get the wiring through, obviously.
Yeah.
But
you kind of answered, by moving that piece, you answered what I was curious about. I didn't know if you were going to have it standing on legs and be under the layout on the floor trying to drill it, or could you lay it up and drill it first? So you just answered the question.
Yeah. And like in this, you know, like the question is, and I'm going to have fun with this, is where to put legs on this boot. Most probably, they're going to be, you know, like one here and across here, which, pardon me, on the bottom here, one here and there, and then probably one here and there. And I may need to put one up at the top there. And of course, the legs will be coming directly at you as you see this table, since this is the bottom.
Mm.
But if I need to put more, or if I find less, you know, great. Whatever keeps the table up and will work.
Yeah,
is good for me.
Roger?
Yeah.
For the toe of the boot there, where you've got the T.
Yeah, right up here.
There and there and there. Yeah, the three heads. I would put 3 legs there. Just to make sure, because you had some sagging before.
Yeah.
At the very tip. So I would put a leg there.
Well, DC, I'm inclined to agree with you. Initially I was thinking, you know, I talked about using 2x4s as legs, and I'm looking at this again, and I'm still trying to make the final decision. I may rip down the 2x4s into 2x2s.
Do you already have the 2x4s?
I have the 2x4s.
Oh, okay. Can you return them and buy 2x2s?
Well, I've got a table saw that I can rip the damn things with.
Okay. So just sometimes it's easier to return them and get like.
Yeah. It's been a few months since because I purchased the wood back in like March. I'm not sure if they're going to be too happy to take it back right now.
It's much easier to take a 2x4 and rip it and make sure you get straight.
Well,
when you go to,
I've got a good table saw, and that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I've done 2x4s. I use 2x2s, and I've ripped 2x4s, but I've also taken 1x stock and glued 2 pieces together to make 2x2s. Either way works.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like I may need the smaller leg.
Yeah, I think 2x4s would be overkill from my experience.
I think it will look, not only that, but I think it will look better. I can put more legs down if I need to in areas like DC is suggesting, and make sure that it's properly supported that way without being cumbersome.
Yeah, I built mine on L girders, which are very, pretty stiff. So you could just run some L girders under there to support it too, rather than more legs.
Yeah, that's true too. Or cross beaming or whatever, yeah, on the sides.
I don't think you need more than 4 legs for size for something that size.
Yeah,
my modules are about 6.5 feet by 4 feet with some, cookie cutter carving in there, and I just have 4 legs and it's fine.
Yeah, and all of these are way smaller than that.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anything beyond. No, I know I don't have anything. Well, this might be a little beyond 5 feet, the table you're looking at. But all the others are below 5 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 legs are going to be plenty as long as, you want to keep the top from sagging or something, that just takes a different kind of bracing rather than legs, I think. That's my opinion, anyway.
Sure.
But the top's already attached to the 1x4s already, correct?
Say again?
You've already glued and screwed the top onto the 1x4s.
Oh yeah, everything's down.
Okay.
What is the top? Is it 1/4 inch?
Effectively, yes. I think it's a little bit. I want to say it's this here.
Oh, it's like Luan, 5mm Luan or something.
Yeah. Well, it's Luan substitute. It's called revolutionary ply.
Yeah, so it's like
it's the new substitute for Luan.
So it's basically underlayment. Yeah, that's what I used to.
Yeah.
Is that like door skin?
No, it's underlayment for buildings, for putting finished floors on top of.
Let's say you were putting a new flooring over an old hardwood floor that was all uneven and some rotting boards and stuff. You'd put the underlayment down before you'd put any type of finished flooring on it.
So it's made to be stomped on.
Is your tabletop at least 1/4 inch thick?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it might be a little bit larger if I remember correctly. I remember some silly measurement that was a little bit beyond the 1/4 inch.
Good. 1/4 inch. Yeah.
Yeah. And with the supports that I have here, and these are nice and light modules, a requirement that I had for myself, because I didn't want to be killing myself later on if I needed to move them or whatever.
Okay.
Look, I just built 2 Woodland Scenics T-Track, Cato T-Track modules to go to NMRA because I didn't have a certain battlefield, which is out in California right now. So I had to make 2 modules real quick. So I used the Cato, and those are just foam with a little chipboard, but they're essentially solid foam. They will never bend, and they will never expand, and they will never contract. And they almost float in the air. You can, the other material is you can always laminate a little foam on the top as you do your scenicking, so, which has a tendency to stick rather well.
Yeah, I think he's doing 2-inch foam.
Yeah.
It's going to be very...
It'll be more than stiff enough if you fasten that down, if you use the right type of foam.
Right.
Because there's all sorts of grades of foam, and I just found one that they use for ocean-going boats. That is, to walk on that stuff, and it's light. So that you've got lots of solutions to get rid of flex.
I'm going to return to the computer, guys.
All right. Thank you, Roger.
Excellent. Have a good time.
Excellent work, brother. Boy, it sure is good to have family members that can do stuff.
Well, I'm telling you, you know, when you say, "Oh, excellent work, Roger," I have to say, no, it's my brother did the layout. I was the guy there making sure I'd hold the wood in the right place.
Right.
Here, let me get out of this. I'm going to leave the meeting on that, and I'm back here.
All right.
And I'm back.
Good, good. Good. Well, another great presentation. Thanks for putting that together for us, Roger. Appreciate it. And I think in a couple of weeks, we got Dr. Matthews on deck. Is that right, LeBron?
That is correct.
Good, good, good. Let's see. Anybody have anything else you want to share? We have a few minutes left.
Yes, if I may. For anybody in the Philly, Delaware, Jersey area, Tom's going to be doing a presentation on the 10th, which is this coming Saturday in Millville, which if you keep going past there, you get down to Cape May. And Tom, do you want to tell them anything more about that? Or
it's one of our regular division meets, the NMRA division meet. And so I'll be down there. Somebody else is doing a clinic. And yeah, so and I think probably most of you have already seen the Atlanta Mill presentation that I put together. I just expanded it a little bit because I have some new photos. Yep. And I think there's one in Philly going on if you're a member of the Philly division, which DC is.
It's not in Philly though.
Oh, but, okay. All right.
I'm going to yours, Tom.
Yeah. Are you really? Oh, cool. Yeah, right. It's you're probably closer than I am to the damn place. It's almost 2 hours
true.
For me.
It's an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Good. It'd be great to have some company there.
Yeah. I will be doing a NMRA X video presentation, I think the 22nd. That will be a national on our SIG. For them, I'm going to be doing rail fanning the 1860s, which is going to be a discussion on how to do a lot of the, how we take the photographs and the written records, just a teaser of those things. And I'll be walking them down through the Union Street switching area that is in the initial stages of my Orange and Alexandria. So anybody that's an NMRA member, please be there. So it'd be really good if most of the guys from the special interest group could be in on that NMRA X, so we can.
No. Ron, is that through Zoom or is this a physical meeting?
The NMRA X's are through Zoom. They are invite. You need to go to the NMRA page and watch for those coming out. That was probably about the best thing I got out of the Nationals convention a couple of weeks ago was having the SIG table there, because they came by and asked if we'd do something for one of the video shows, and it'll be up on YouTube after that. But it'd be real good if all the NMRA members could be in on that one.
I think it would be cool if maybe you and Paul could get together and kind of give us a short update sometime on what happened there.
Paul's here, so Paul's the lead on that, so I'll defer to him. And I see his picture down here.
Cool. Quick question for you, Joel. That's the September 22nd?
No, October.
Okay, and then if we go to the NMRA site and go to NMRX, it'll give us, because I'm looking for the timing of when your presentation is going to be.
I'll send out the details on it. I've got to talk to Speed shortly, who's the webmaster.
Yep.
Because I have to send, I have to get I need to finish, I have to send them the presentation because they load it on their end. And that, so awesome. It's mostly going to be stuff you've kind of heard me talk about before, but I'm going to kind of roll it up to talk to how I put together the research. And it's the same thing that we heard tonight, and that all of us do it. I just want to try to make it sound like it's fun.
Right. Right. So here's what we'll do. We'll base the success of your presentation with how many members join our group. How about that?
Yeah, well, you know, I just consider it, you know, good if they don't come and burn my house down. But, and an early note, next year, the National is going to be here in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, Joel. It's going to be up in Dallas area. Yeah, so
next year.
Yeah, the 2020, the 2023. I'll be down here in Texas.
Whoa.
So anybody who would like to come join us at the SIG table, I'd be welcome to have you. You can bring down all sorts of stuff to show off. You know, that'd be good.
George, you'll probably be there, no?
Oh, of course. I was actually just going to say I'll be there. I was actually at the
St. Louis.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, in St. Louis. Well, Collinsville.
George is losing his link.
We did have somebody come by, and I apologize. I don't remember who it was at this point.
Paul caught up with you. I was lost over in the.
What's that?
I was too much fun with the Star Wars T-track.
That's right. That was a neat little display. I barely had time to walk away from the booth, though. We apparently made a big splash with our Blue Nami, which is a Bluetooth control decoder now. So that's been a big thing. And the last two shows, this one and Narrow Gauge, I barely had time to leave the table at all. So it's a good thing.
Yes.
But yeah, Texas is the Dallas area is my hometown, so I'll be right there. I'm familiar with everything. And if anybody does go, be sure to check out Babe's Fried Chicken. You'll thank me later.
And you've got a video on the Blue Nami on YouTube.
Correct. We did a live demonstration of the announcement, and we've been starting to put little short videos on it. It's a little big for some of the HO models that we're working on now, but the larger scales, the O scale and guys like that, it definitely would fit in easily. But I was actually going to chime in with a different thing. I actually, as some of you guys know, I got to visit Tom's layout this summer, and I actually shot a video. So there's actually a 45-minute operations running video on my YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and search Goalie George as one word, you'll be able to find it. And like I said, it was I had an awesome time. Tom's layout is extremely well done, and we got a lot of stuff done that weekend, and we had a great time. So if anybody wants to see Tom's beautiful work, there's a video on my YouTube channel for it.
With his locomotive running. Oh,
yours is on there too.
I know, yes. But man, it was. Those were 2.5 of the coolest days I've had up here, just figuring out how to run the locomotives, man. I still got them double-headed. I don't want to take them apart.
It is cool.
That's easy to fix. You just have to buy 2 more locomotives.
Right.
So
right.
And you have to paint them exactly like those two, so you can have them running apart or together.
Yeah. I was going to tell.
Or you can get George to show you how to do it again.
Yes. I had one of Al's locomotives. I just wanted to tell John Ott this too. Is like, you know, Al is so precise with all of his work, and his locomotives were the Orange and Alexandria. But he had one locomotive that I got, the Virginia, which I found out was a locomotive in the stables of the W&A. So it took me about a month to get up the nerve to take off the tender, drop it in acetone, and remove all the decals to put on John's Western and Atlantic, and it came out great. But it just, it's like when you have a masterpiece, it's almost like messing with the Mona Lisa. And I just wanted to come clean with that I did that. And but I'm very happy with the fact that it's now part of the W&A roster. It's great.
Yeah, there was nobody more meticulous than Al.
I know. Well, I would say you're pretty meticulous.
I could not hold a candle to him. He embarrassed me every time I tried to work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the fact that he baked every color when he put it on there, that was over the top for me. I was like, holy smokes. But yeah, I love him. Cool. Anything else from anybody?
Are those decoders available now for the 440s already programmed with the proper sounds?
You can, they're not pre-programmed, but they're set up and all the sounds are preloaded. So they're just selectable in a, you go to the CVs and select which sound. If you're talking about the Blue NAMI, then you go to the pull down menus on the app on your phone and it's selectable that way. But yes, if you're looking at the regular Tsunami 2, all the sounds are preloaded and they're selectable. We did a full presentation here talking about them, focused specifically on the 440. So you can probably go into the archive, find it, or contact me at work, George B at soundtracks.com. Perfect. All the settings and everything.
Yeah, George has been great. I mean, I feel like a pain in the butt once in a while because I'm calling him. So how do I do this again? Or what was the CV for that? But I downloaded the manual, and the fact that he was here for 2 days, it really shortened the learning curve immensely. And I took copious notes.
Good deal. I'll have to call you next week and see if you can send some out to me.
Oh, okay.
Great. That'd be great.
We can certainly do that.
Good. All right, gentlemen. Well, once again, it was great to see this turnout. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to hearing what LeBron has to say and show. And all the best to you. Stay healthy and look forward to seeing you next time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Great meeting.
Thanks, Tom, Roger, and George.
Thank you. Where's Roger?
Thanks, Tom. Bye.
Thanks,
bye. See you guys.
Hey, Roger.
Yeah.